39% of adults say cashews are their favorite kind of nut. You randomly select 12 adults and ask each to name his or her favorite nut. Find the probability that the number who say cashews are their favorite nut is A, exactly 3, B, at least 4, and C, at most 2. If convenient, use technology to find the probabilities. For this particular problem, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to use the formula P of X that is given in the textbook for these types of distributions. You need to understand that what we're looking at right here is a binomial distribution. And when I say binomial distribution, that means that there's only one choice. We're talking about the fact that the answer is either yes or no, or we could use it as true or false. Alright, so part A wants us to find the probability of 3. That's what we're looking at. Exactly 3. So that means out of the 12 adults, 3 will say that cashews are their favorite nut. We need to understand a few things. First, we need to know exactly what our formula is. Now, I've written the formula right here, and this is P of X, and that's going to be equal to n items chosen x at a time times P raised to the x power times Q raised to this n minus x power. Now let's understand what n, x, p, q, and c are going to be. First off, we need to understand that this right here means that we are looking at a combination. And the easiest way to do a combination is to use a scientific calculator. The textbook will give you the formula as n factorial over n minus x factorial times x factorial. But honestly, every good scientific calculator will have a combination key along with a permutation key that will allow you to do this. And I will show you how to do this using an online calculator in just a moment. But let's understand exactly what we're looking at here. First off, let's understand what x is. Well, in this particular case, x is going to be 3 because we are looking at the fact that we want to understand what the probability for exactly 3 is. And then we're going to talk about n. Well, n is going to be the number of adults that we are looking at. So n is equal to 12. And then we need to understand what p and q are. P is going to be the yes, okay? 39% of adults say cashews are their favorite kind of nut. So I want to let P be equal to 0.39. And then Q is going to be equal to 1 minus P. And which means that I'm looking at Q being equal to 1 minus 0.39. So in this case, Q is going to be equal to 0.61. So now we go ahead and put everything into the formula. So we know that n is equal to 12, and that's going to be a combination. And we're looking at 3 at a time for this particular combination. And what I'm going to do is put parentheses around this, because this whole thing is now going to multiply my p to the x power. Now remember that p is 0.39, and I'm going to raise that to the x power, which in this case is 3, and then I'm going to multiply that by my q, which we determined was 0.61, and I'm going to raise that to the n minus x power, so that's going to be 12 minus 3, and in this case it'll end up being 9. And one of the things that you need to remember is that when you add this exponent to this exponent, you should get this number right here. And that should make sense because I'm subtracting 3 from 12, which is going to give me 9, so 9 plus 3 is 12. And now we need to plug this into the calculator. As I said, any good scientific calculator will have a combination key, and it's going to be dependent upon the calculator as far as how you input this. So we're going to go ahead and use this calculator right here, and like I said, it is an online calculator, and that's at web 2.0 calc.com, and it's going to work or function just like any good handheld scientific calculator. And we're going to start out with the NCX. Now for this particular problem, remember that n is 12, so I'm going to go ahead and type in 12, and then I'm going to click this button right here, which is NCR, and you'll notice that it puts NCR first, and then it's got 12, and then I'm going to type in 3. Now I can use the keyboard input if I want, or I can go ahead and click on this particular keypad that's on the website. Now you'll notice that right up in here where I've just highlighted in blue, that's going to be this formula right here, and I'll come back to that calculator in a moment, but now it's filled in. So I'm going to close the parentheses, and then I'm going to multiply by 0.39 to the third power. So I hit my multiplication symbol, which is going to be an asterisk. I'm going to open parentheses, type in 0.39, close parentheses. I'm going to press the Shift 6 key, or I can simply use this X to the Y key. It means the same thing. And now I type in the exponent, which is 3. Then I'm going to multiply, well actually I'm sorry, we're going to actually close parentheses around that also. And now I'm going to go ahead and multiply by 0.61. Close parentheses, raised to the 9th power, close parentheses. And you'll see up here that we have just above this window exactly what I'm looking to do. And then I will press equals, and I end up with this number right here, 0.1526107. And so I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And so I can now say that P of 3 is equal to 0.1526107, and it continues. Now in the MyStatLab exercise, it does say round to the nearest thousandth as needed, which means that P of 3 is going to be equal to, that P of 3 will be equal to, rounded to the nearest thousandth, 1.153. And now we're going to go ahead and put that into MyStatLab. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this in so that we can look at it, and we're going to type in 0.153. We'll go ahead and check our answer, and we have a nice work. Now for the next part, which is P of X is greater than or equal to 4, that means that we're going to have to do a number of different calculations and then add them together. Now for P of X is greater than or equal to 4, that means that we're looking to find the probability that 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, 7 people, 8 people, 9 people, 10 people, 11 people, or 12 people all said yes. That's an extremely lengthy calculation. Instead, we could simply say that this is equal to 1 minus the probability that X is less than 4. Now in this case, where X is less than 4, what we're looking at is the fact that this will be equivalent to the probability of 0 plus the probability of 1 plus the probability of 2 plus the probability of 3. And once I find all 4 of those, I will go ahead and subtract that sum from 1. And that will give me the probability that X is greater than or equal to 4. That is also going to be lengthy because we are going to have to use the binomial distribution, the probability of X, 4 times. Now granted, we've already done this once in part A for probability of 3, or P of 3, but that means we still have to find P of 0, P of 1, P of 2, add them together. What I'm going to do now is introduce StatCrunch and show you just how easy this can be using technology. Now, StatCrunch is proprietary software that comes with your subscription to MyStatLab. Okay, you'll notice over here on the right of this window, you've got your Help Me Solve This, View an Example, StatCrunch, Tech Help, Print, and Ask the Publisher. Now you can go ahead and left click StatCrunch, and this is going to open up another window. Okay, and here is the StatCrunch window. Now we're going to use the information that's contained in the problem to do this. For a binomial, we're going to use a binomial calculator. What I want you to do is left click the Stat button. Then you are going to highlight Calculators, and you're going to scroll over here, and you are going to left click Binomial. And then you're going to have this pop-up window. This pop-up window is where you're going to input your information. Remember that we said n was equal to 12 for this problem, so I'm going to type in 12. We said that p was equal to 0.39. I'm going to type in 0.39. I'm looking to find the probability that x is greater than or equal to 4. So I will left click greater than or equal to, and I'm going to input 4 in this field, and I will left click compute. This is my answer right here where I've highlighted it. Remember that we need to round to the nearest thousandth, so that will be 0.73. I mean 0.753. So 0.753. We press check answer, and we get the answer. Now, same thing, we can do the probability that x is less than or equal to 2. So we still have the calculator up. We don't change the 12. We don't change the 0.39. We do change the direction of the inequality sign to less than or equal. And then we're going to change the number to 2. Left click compute. And this is our answer, 0.0946285. Once again, we're going to input or round to the nearest thousandth. So that's going to be 0.095. And then we simply click check answer, and we have completed the problem. This shows you the technology is a nice, easy way to get your answers. As long as you understand the process, using the technology is okay.